Right, let's just give it a few minutes for hopefully people to join in. We've changed the time this time around. I guess last time we did it a lot earlier, didn't we? But we wanted to give more people in the US an opportunity to join, so we added it later. But I guess a lot of people also is busy with the Christmas holidays, especially in the US. Maybe not other parts of the world, so maybe the timing was maybe a little bit off. Anyways, I guess
I think
we
like
could.
this holiday but yeah, it's still nice to keep consistent. That's my key when I look at the date, and it's like, let's keep some consistency in doing this stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking more about maybe the time to do it because maybe some people that were not busy with holidays would enjoy this more maybe in other parts of the world, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I was only thinking about the time. The date is good to have a consistent schedule, like you say. I think that is
Yeah, but
really good.
like, what time is better time than now? I
I'm
think
not
like it's
sure in
early morning in the
Asia.
US, and it's late like afternoon in Asia.
Okay, yeah, that is
Yeah,
good.
so
Yeah,
it's like 10, 11 at night in China. It's
yeah.
8 in the morning in US. I think the only is like California, western part of America.
So then it's morning tea in the US and it's night tea
In
in
China.
Asia. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, uh, this is
Very.
basically an AMA, so we're open to answering questions. I think we will have some questions about FUSD, I guess.
Hopefully, but we'll also tell a little bit about it and the process and the status and where we're at, and a little bit about the testing as well. I see some people in the crowd that are testers as well, so that's good.
Yeah, maybe get
Um,
some good feedback from them as well, how they feel the experience has been.
yeah,
I see that we already got a question in general, and that's like when FUSD is coming alive, and the date will be set right after New Year's, because right now some people are on vacation and stuff like that. But it looks like, at least from what I know, I haven't like catched up with Atlasor and the other people that are on vacation, but from what I know, things looks good. So we will set the date when we feel everything is like packed together and ready. But it's like early January. It's at least the plan and on top of my head. Um,
yeah. I
and
think it's best to sync with all the devs then on right after the holiday is over, and so that everyone can raise their concerns if in any. But from my side, and it seems from what's been going on in the chats that there is just a little bit of list of things to like iron out some bugs before we
yeah, but that's
launch.
in the
Uh,
UI,
yes,
yeah.
yes. So that's no big issue, and that's the only thing I know about.
Yeah.
So, uh, like we have had all these audits and everything been fixed in that sense. So we are already ready on that part. So I guess like the only thing we wanted to see is like, is it smooth for people to use, and it maybe isn't in some sense, so we'll fix the stuff that we got feedback for. But I don't know if there's anything else. But as I said, maybe all the devs can say that, not only me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we're good to launch. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a recap on the specific date right after New Year's. It's a couple of days away, so we just need to sync with everyone. Also, I don't know if I'm sorry to say that it will not be any rewards for testers. The reason that we open it up for testing is that we have a lot of people interested in testing it out, seeing how it works before it's live. Uh, Basically, it's user feedback on some user experience stuff. It's nice to get, but we haven't set anything aside for the testers. It was more like a gift for the people that were really eager to get started testing FUSD that we opened it up and spent a lot of time making it ready for testing on testnet.
It also depends on how you look at it. It should be a reward that everything goes smooth on launch as well, like with the UX, so that you get a better experience using the product once it's done. So you're really helping yourself by testing, because now is the easiest time for us to integrate into the development loop, for features you really want in the UX, in the UI, for you to have a better experience. And in that sense, it's rewarding, but in a monetary sense, no. So we're thankful for everyone helping out, but there isn't like a monetary reward for everything, I guess.
Let's see, we have a question here. Fetomar, come up to stage. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for organizing here.
You're far away from your microphone.
Am I? Sorry about it. Discord
So
asked
much
me if I
better.
want to say something that was unusual. So I just want to say hi. I have this specific question, but let me keep it for later on. I don't want to steal the attention here. Good luck.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, then you can come up later and ask your question. Yeah, if we don't have any questions right now, we can like talk a bit about FUSD and what it is and what it isn't. It's really important to know that it's, oh, we have Dill, and he's always eager to ask questions. So let's see what Dylan has to say.
Good morning, everyone. Howdy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just waking up, so sorry if I sound a little groggy.
Okay.
I guess I'll just ask the question simply then. What are some of the lessons you guys have learned from users testing out FUSD, and maybe some of the differences between the types of assets that are used to back it?
From user testing, it's mostly been like UX and UI improvements, so for user experience and user interface. When it comes to the assets, it's really hard to grasp on testnet, because testnet doesn't flow the same way as mainnet does. We have done some private net tests where we have flipped prices and done stuff like that to run like margin maintains and everything. I think like the different assets are nice. I know a lot of people that loves to hold their neos, that don't want to let go of their neos, but they are willing to collateralize them to lend on top of it. And I know people have the same feelings about Bitcoin. So those two assets will not be like as rewarding as using Flund, but it's like different strategy. So using Flund, you will have the income that the Flund gives you on top of your Flund tokens that are collateralized. You don't get that with Bineo, you don't get that with Bitcoin, but I think people will hold on to their Neo and Bitcoin for other reasons. So if it's just to lend as much as possible and make as much as possible, then Flund is your friend.
Some of the things that I've learned from this testing phase so far is that it's good to get the feedback to create documentation, really, to get these frequently asked questions down. Something that you maybe are not able to educate through the user interface in a simple manner, because it might be a somewhat more complex product to. If you go into a bank, maybe you have some people that can assist you to know what the loan is and how it works and everything. But on the web page, you just have little real estate and little patience on the user side, I guess. So people just want to click the buttons and get done with it. But that leads to some questions like, how is this fundamentally working? And having some frequently asked questions, we could add those like question mark circles and create explanations there, and in articles we could add more details on how the system works, because there is some confusion. There is some, like, people are expecting this system to work one way, but it's working a little bit different, and that might be because of security. That might be because it's inherently not possible to do what the user thinks it's possible to do. So it's been good to have these discussions and be able to reflect on that and note down these answers to these really good questions. And also to add on what Mr. Google said, that with regards to the assets, it's different on mainnet than testnet. We've learned this from other projects, that you maybe drag sliders, you do something like crazy in the user base, or add like 100 bitcoins and try to see if you can break stuff in the user experience, and you get really focused on that. You're really not testing how you will be using it when it's your funds and your money and you're taking risks and all that kind of stuff. So I think we can't really catch that in testing. So that will be like in the first weeks of launch, where we get maybe some different feedback. So, but I think the testing's been good all in all.
It's really awesome. I've enjoyed using it on testnet, and I have two other questions. I guess the first question I'll ask is, not sure if you've written this down or covered it elsewhere, but when I'm locking my BNEO into a vault, either mint FUSD or just kind of hold it in there, what's going to happen with the gas that's accumulated from that?
It will be the same as with the gas on the rest of the platform. It will go to development, security, and marketing. Basically, we have this structured how things work, how we use the gas to grow the platform. Like audits for FUSD contract has been really expensive since we had so many. So it's the same there. So that's why BNEO will get a slightly lower yield, or not yield, but interest rate, to basically make it a bit cheaper for BNEO holders, since they contribute to the platform much more than Bitcoin or basically fund holders do when it comes to FUSD.
It makes a lot of sense. I guess I have another follow-up question. Recently, BNEO lending and borrowing launched over at Demex, which is a multi-chain protocol. So Flund is a little bit different than what is going on over at the lending and borrowing protocol at Demex. But are there any lessons learned from the week of that lending and borrowing protocol being live that you guys have either noticed or recognized that you've already acknowledged, or maybe something new you hadn't thought of?
It's like a different strategy, I think, and that's one thing that's really important to address when it comes to FUSD. We're trying to make a stable coin, and to make a stable coin, you need to be sure that the assets or collateral backing it is, or make it stable. So that's why we have this max loan to value at 35%, because if you have it over that, you can actually make the protocol unstable by doing round robins and then basically under collateralizing your loan, but of course with a great risk. And then you're really dependent on our liquidators or margin maintainers, as we call them on Flamingo, to do their job. And if they don't, basically the loan is out of favor, so nobody is willing to liquidate it. Also, it's a reason why we don't use any other stable coins to let people collateralize on top on, and that's because we don't want any third-party centralized asset to be the platform that can ruin FUSD. It's if you do it on top of, like, Maker has like 70% USDC, well, then they trust that USDC is backed 1-to-1. So it's basically up to Circle to make sure that DAI is backed. And if Circle is doing something stupid, that will kill DAI. So we have to depend on FLM, of course, and NEO, and then Bitcoin. 3 assets that we look at as stable, and as a platform, we feel are secure because we work tightly together with NGT, so we trust them when it comes to NEO, and the same when it comes to FLM. And for Bitcoin, we don't work together with Satoshi, but it's been around for 10 years, so it's widely decentralized.
Yeah, and it's also with the launch over there, it made me reflect also with all these configuration parameters like interests and all the other ways you could configure these loans, and it seems like we have a different strategy, and it just made me even more clear about what our strategy is, and Odd reflected really well on it now, how we want it to be, like true to what we think is fundamentally important, creating this stablecoin without being not being dragged down by anyone else mistakes. And there's also that there should be some sort of, like, it sounds harsh, but punishment for taking risk and borrowing money. We've seen over leverage in crypto too much these recent months, and it's been causing a lot of issues. So people can of course choose what to do with their own assets, but we won't have people bring Flamingo down with leverage that we create. So setting that loan to value at 35%, it seems healthy for us, and not having another assets being able to have 1-to-1 like with another stablecoin, or maybe some asset feels more safe, so that could be 50%. We don't want to do it because greed is not good. it usually just leads to so much leverage, and it becomes unstable at some point. So we just want to keep it.
Yeah, one
less,
thing that's important to notice here as well is that other platforms may work on lower interests and stuff like that, but it's like, who do you want to take the punishment for bad loan? Do you want the platform to pay the price, or do you want the user that took a bad loan to pay the price? So with the interest rates, it's going to security fund, it's going to fund. For the first 2 years, it will go to the LRB fund as well, split 1/3 to each. But if you have low interest rates, like we could set it to 0. We could actually give you FLM if you took a loan. But then it's Flamingo taking the risks on behalf of all the users. With the interest rate you pay, it's basically you take some risks. You get a loan on top of your collateral. You're able to hold Bitcoin or NEO or Flund, and you can lend on top of that. So if you do that with Flund, you will have a net positive interest rate, basically. And if you do it with Bitcoin, you will maybe have a net negative interest rate, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoins. But I feel it's then the interest you have to pay is to protect the other users of the platform. So we're trying to make a modest, safe, and stable and boring stablecoin, basically. That's not impacted by third parties or single users. That's like our goal here.
Those are some really cool lessons learned, and also it's easy to lose in kind of like the grand scheme of things, the issues surrounding DAI and its centralization of its actual underlying assets, which are essentially USDC, which are backed 1-to-1 with dollars and kept at parity with the central entity, supposedly. So I guess those are really cool responses. One of the things that, before I got wrecked, that I really enjoyed about the Anchor protocol and Terra and UST was kind of the degeneracy that you guys are baking into the core of kind of removing that thrill of borrowing and lending. But something that was really valuable when I was using that protocol and avoiding getting liquidated was there was a mobile application that I could use to top up my loan or to pay it off completely and exit that position of leverage, basically. So are you guys planning on releasing some sort of mobile app in the future so people can maybe maintain a loan if they're out at dinner or on vacation or just away from their computer?
It
Yes,
will work with OneGate, and also we will make a Discord bot that you can basically subscribe to be notified. You just set the threshold, and then it will notify you on DM. One thing that's really important to know here is that with the low loan to value and the penalties, if you're basically margin maintained 100%, in a normal case scenario where prices drop, let's say over 2 days or even 1 day, not just like it's a different scenario if it happens in 1 minute that prices drops 300-400%. But if it drops like over a day 300%, you will basically lose around 7-8% of your collateral. So if you use 100 BNOs as collateral, you will have 92 BNOs left, but you still have the FUSD in your wallet. So basically, if the price continues to drop, you have a hedge because then you can use your FUSD to buy BNO. So in most cases when like we tested, we did some extreme cases, we did some slow cases, and like when you liquidate a loan 100%, most cases it was like, yeah, but I have more BNO than I started with at a lower value, of course, but I had more collateral because I could take the FUSD. That's still worth $1. Adrian's margin maintainer bot has paid off my loan, and I could take out my collateral and I can use the FUSD to buy more BNO. So I was
It's,
like,
yeah, also the reason why we call it margin maintenance and not liquidation, because with liquidation it gives a bad taste in most people's
sounds
mouths
like you
because
take everything.
yes, like they do with option futures, derivatives, like real gambling. But here with the loans, you really just maintain down to a healthy loan ratio. So in extreme cases, like prices dropping in 1 minute, like 300%, that will be maybe a bigger loss for the user. But like Odd says, over time, might be a good thing actually for the user. He ends up not noticing. But of course, I know that people will want to have an overview of what's happening, and they will be able to through OneGate. And what would be nice is if it would be possible to get some push notification integrated into OneGate so that our us the devs could actually push notifications through OneGate in the app. That would be really nice, but for now we have to resort to things like Discord to give notifications, because we won't launch any official app on the app stores anytime soon, because that requires like a legal entity, a company registered somewhere to be
So
in charge of.
basically every crypto app is getting banned. So
Yes. So I think we need to do it the Robin Hood way, maybe like stay in the woods and doing our trades through OneGate's app and maintain our loans that way. So I know
we're
that
looking at
sucks,
some extreme
but
cases. Like if you take 35% loan to value, you still need the prices to drop like 10-15% or something. And if you like if you take 35%, everything is red already. So everything
but everything can
says to you
happen.
that but like it
Yes.
says to you like this is a risky loan. So then you should pay attention to it. It's not like take that and go 3 weeks on vacation. But if you take it at like 15 or 20% or something like that, people need to find what they're comfortable with.
Yep.
Usually you will be able to maintain your margin yourself. And that's basically the cheapest way to do it, like either repay the loan or add more collateral. And in the worst case, if someone else does it for you, it's not like they take everything. It's like someone maybe margin maintain 10% of your position and you lost 0.8 BNO from your collateral.
It
So
should
the
suck,
only
but
way
not
to
that
be
much.
but the only
Yeah.
way to be 100% margin maintain is that the price drops. So basically your collateral now is less worth than the FUSD. And then you still have the FUSD. So yeah,
And in that case, the security fund kicks in also and to liquidate bad loans like that. So
there will be a
yeah.
lot of bad small loans, I guess. That's not favorable to liquidate, but that's where we have the security fund. It will kick in and take those bad deals before they get really rotten. So that's one really important thing about FUSD.
I haven't actually read much into the security fund beyond 33.33% of minting fees, burning fees, and liquidation fees going into that. So it sounds like the security fund is going to be there to protect a little bit of the users and a little bit of the platform. What else is it designed to do?
Mostly the
There's a
platform,
small
basically.
correction there on the margin maintenance penalty of 15% on the when there's a margin maintenance, the security fund actually gets 60% of that amount. So it's not 1/3 on that one. Just a small correction. Okay, Odd.
Yeah, it's like it's basically there to protect the platform, and by protecting the platform is protecting every other user than actually that one person's loan. So it's more like and that's a real extreme case where it's not profitable for anyone else to do it. People won't do it. It's really simple. If you run a margin maintainer bot, you don't want to lose money. It's like people aren't kind that way. So that's why we need a security fund to basically care for the platform. If you have, let's say, a loan for 0.1 B NEO and 1 FUSD, and you don't care anymore, and 1 year has gone by and nobody's willing to take that because the gas cost is too high. It's not profitable to do it, but still for the security fund, it will take that to make sure that everything is clean and that the value of FUSD is healthy.
It's there to help in extreme cases, and also there is $1 million bug bounty. So the more that security fund can grow, the better it is, because people will chase those bug bounties. There will be possibilities for us to do several rounds of audits when we launch new contracts.
And it's also important to know that we want to grow that bug bounty, because it's really simple. If I can run away with $10 million and be a criminal or someone, and they would do it. If they then instead could run away with $5 million and not be a criminal, they would rather do that. So that's why we have the bug bounty, and that's why that needs to basically, as Flamingo grows and as FUSD grows, it needs to grow, because if there for some reason are some exploits there, we want to make sure that it's more profitable for you as a black hat hacker to be a white hat hacker and take the bug bounty instead. So if the bug bounty is low and your hack is big, you can like drain 500 million and you can just get 1 million from the security fund. It doesn't make sense. So in every calculation that we have done so far, you would never be able to be a criminal black hat hacker and get away with anything that's worth more than 1 million of legal money, basically. So that's why the security fund also plays a big part. And it's also for small stuff. We have reports for everything, basically. So some people are reporting that the wallet doesn't load. That's not like for a bug bounty, but it's other stuff like people scan Flamingo trying to find stuff, and that's really nice to be up and out there and let people actually try to find mistakes or find exploits and then report them in. So far, it's been nothing, but yeah, if someone one day wants to claim that $1 million, it's better to pay that than to be hacked.
You can let me know if I'm monopolizing the stage or anything.
No, it's nice to have you. It's driving conversation.
Now, something that I've really appreciated about the project as a user, but that has also frustrated me, but in a completely understandable way, is the kind of delay of the launch of the token, which I'm assuming is because security audits turned back some vulnerabilities and flaws.
It's a really fun story, or not fun story. It was like everything was okay, everything was fixed. I went on a walk alone with my dog and got time to think, and then I started like playing out some different scenarios, and it was like this scenario where I was like, oh damn, this is something we need to fix. And for some reason, I convinced everyone that it was something that we needed to fix. So we fixed that. We updated the contracts. We did everything, and we had a new audit. We had a new round, and then everything worked. But then we sat down and we looked at it, and it wasn't a problem. So we had to revert everything. So
we had a lengthy discussion on GitHub, and like me and Mr. Google were having a voice chat, and I was like noting down, and we were like going 50 rounds with this and trying to, and all of a sudden it clicked like, we're not actually burning these FUSDs, we're sending them there. So this isn't really an issue. So like
So
it is something complex in this, how
was
everything
the
works
issue
just clicked.
you talked about,
Yeah.
Dylan. Like you asked me about if you lend 100 FUSD, how can you ever repay if you owe 106 FUSD? So basically that was the start of it. We were like, okay, that's bad if people can't repay their loans. But basically it was, as I explained to you, like first you repay your interest, and then the interest is then put back out to the market so you can repurchase that and then pay down your loan. So
This is
that's why
definitely
it's
part of the FAQ now. So it will be in the article
Yeah.
and other
That's
places.
why things takes time. It's impossible as a developer to say when we're done. Things play in. It can be, for some reason, it can be some private matters that makes you not able to work for some days. It can be something else. You can get stuck on some stupid stuff like the story I talked about now. That was like 10 days down the drain. Like I'm the optimistic guy, always trying to do stuff fast. And if I don't put dates on stuff, everyone around me just slacks off, and we wouldn't see FUSD for another 10 years. So so I put the dates out there basically to put some pressure on us to deliver. And it's better to like then for security reasons hold it back and then find it. And it was the same with Flund. It was the same with everything. It's some delay. Sometimes things go as planned and things come out. I will say like in 90% of the times it doesn't. But if we don't put the dates there, if we don't do stuff like that, we will just be there doing basically nothing because we don't have any dates to aim for.
We can always feel it when it gets like 4 or 5 days until the date, and everyone is like constantly online, like all points of the day or the even at night, and people are answering and people are trying to fix everything as fast as possible, and even with the auditors and stuff like that. So it seems good to apply pressure, because it seems like we produce 5 times more code and content and everything when the date is approaching, because there's all this stuff happening in between. Like there's bugs that has to be addressed, there's like support tickets, there's community moderation, there's like refactoring all code, there's things in the backlog that has to be done, and
updates. Yeah.
Yes. So you try to prioritize, and then the thing that has the deadline closest, it gets the priority. So it sucks for the users
I think like in the end, it doesn't matter if it was last week or in 2 weeks, because in 1 year, like with Flund, I don't think anyone here like, oh, they were really bad delivering 10 days after they said they weren't going to do. So it's like, it's for security reasons. It's to be sure. Right now, Christmas came up on us, and it's really good to have these days, like going in, spending an hour or two with your cup of coffee and testing stuff, and just do that in a slow pace. Because if we had released before Christmas, everything would be like last minute high pace stuff, and I think that would be a bad feeling, and it's no reason to make something that you want to grow big and be there for the foreseeable future and like save a couple of days. That's not good.
Also see the point of Dylan, because last day I was traveling and the train was delayed by 3 hours, but it wasn't initially delayed by 3 hours. It was initially delayed by a half hour, then 1 hour, then it was a half hour more, and then it was 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And that's maybe the annoying part, but I understand it as well, because there you want to be optimistic about stuff, and you want it to happen before, and you want to yeah, you just be optimistic about it. And because when the last time or the last message come, like it's been delayed again, you kind of like feel frustrated, but in the end, like God says, I think it's the right thing to do. But I could understand people wanting it. Yeah.
No, but I'm 100 times more frustrated than anyone else, because it's like maybe ugly thing to say, but I want this out there. I want this done. I cannot sleep. Like I cannot like spend time with my family. I just focus so hard on this stuff.
I got a picture from his wife. He sent me. He was sleeping in the bathroom floor because he was stayed up to like 6 a.m. or something and didn't want to wake the family. So he just went to the next room, and that's the bathroom, and just fell asleep there. And that was like 3 hours later, he wake up and back at the computer and started working, because I know him. He can't sleep.
So it's really frustrating, and like you want to do this right. You have one try. We can say like we can always fix that later. No, you can't. If you don't do this correct the first time, then it's done. It's no reason to do it. Trying to do it again. It's like so. With this one, it's perfection. Of course, some things you can fix with user interface, user experience, and stuff like that, but you cannot like let people mint $1 million and then collateralize $3 million, and then that is drained, or you didn't think about something. People won't trust that ever again. So yeah, sorry for the long answer.
No, it's totally fine. It's 100% sort of measure twice, cut once situation that you guys are in. And I know that in the crypto space, things move so quick, and everybody wants to know when launch, when project. But just being able to have an answer for why there were any perceived delays, even though you guys put a self-imposed date on it, I think that's fine. And really, I mean, the crux of my question was there like some major vulnerability you found, or were you guys just steel manning it? And if we had to wait 2 more weeks because FUSD was a little bit more steel manned, I don't think there's an issue there. Now, kind of pulling in line with what you guys just said, and maybe this feels like another when launch question, but is there any sort of general estimate for when we'll be able to test the margin maintainer bot?
Live now.
Yeah,
it's live now.
Yeah, I shared a link right before we went live, so it's in the FUSD feedback channel. You should be able to access the link now. Maybe someone can try and confirm that you should be able to read that README in the GitHub repository. You should be able to test it now, and before launching it, you should read all the README, because there's some caveats with how it works. You're only collateralizing one asset at a time, or you're not collateralizing, you're maintaining one collateral against one F token. So at this point, that could be on testnet, BNEO, FUSD, it could be FLM or Fund FUSD, or it could be Bitcoin FUSD. So you have to run
Like
3 different nodes, if you want to run margin maintenance on all the different loans. But it's all there in the README, and if people want the specific contracts and what the address is, then I can provide that, of course. But this is more advanced level. Yeah.
Feel free to fork it and make changes, and people have their own ways. This is a basic one where you basically can just put in your address, read the README, and run it, and that will be efficient enough to be a margin maintainer. But I guess like some other devs will build from this one, and if you want to share or have some pull requests or something like that, that's really nice. If not, yeah, just like you have the basis there for what's needed to do margin maintenance at least.
Yeah, again, apologize. I had just woken up 5 minutes before this call started, so
No problem. No
a
problem.
lack of my due diligence. So I'm gonna be quiet now. Thanks for answering all my questions.
You're always welcome to ask more. We just hear from Ioannis if he has something to say.
Thank you for all the excellent questions. Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So we have a couple of questions. The first question is about FUSD. In theory, when a user made, like, let's say $1,000 in FUSD, after a couple of months or days, he need to burn the initial loan plus the interest. So in a scenario, the user need to burn more FUSDT than he loaned. So in somehow,
you're thinking about like we don't have enough FUSD to repay the loan, correct?
Yes, in some like scenario can impact the protocol.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because this is basically the case I talked to Dylan about, where where I convinced everyone that this was a problem. So it's really nice to hear that it's not just my head or our heads, like, and we actually fixed that one, but that will be dangerous, because the thing that's happening when you lend, let's say 100 FUSD or 1,000 FUSD, and in 1 year you have paid, you owe 1,040. So you have this 4% interest there. What's happening now, when you repay, you still have just 1,000, but then you repay that 1,000. Then the first 40 FUSD will go to repay your interest. And the money that goes to repay your interest will then be distributed back to the market via fund and via the security fund and stuff like that. So you can then buy it back with another asset, and then you can repay your loan in full. So basically it's minted, but it's like you have to first repay the interest and then buy back that and then pay it. It's a really hard and tricky scenario. That's why we basically spent 10 more days on that, and we did a lot of contract changes, and then we had to rework everything because it's a really tricky scenario to run.
But it also made us more aware that what role the funds, the security fund and the LRB fund and the last one being, I forgot now, the security fund, the fund, and the LRB, what role they have. Their role has to be to actually put that FUSD back on the market, so this is possible to happen. So it made us more aware of that as well, because
so it will not be locked up. FUSD will not be locked up in the LRB fund contract. It will be converted to other assets. So then if that's Bitcoin or FLM or NEO or gas or anything, that will be then sent to the fund for LRB, and the same for security fund. The security fund will hold a lot of FUSD since it's needed to liquidate margin maintain loans. But it comes to a threshold where also the security fund should then convert some of the FUSD into other assets like Bitcoin, NEO, and FLM, especially like focus on the assets that we already have in the security or in the FUSD contract. So, but that's a scenario where we're a couple of years down the road, I think, and then it's a huge success, and it's not like a risk to do that. So it's a hard scenario. It's good that you address it, because that, at least I'm happy for it, because I really blew it with all the guys, having everyone working. But everyone agreed that it was a problem. So that's basically what I said to them when I had to then get them to understand that it's not a problem. But that's the way it is.
I guess with enough liquidity, it won't be a problem. Like it's a problem if we have a small liquidity in the
It would
protocol.
be a problem, of course, if
Bit
it's
more
one
tricky,
loan.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then like the interest had just to be redistributed to the market, and when that was done, you could repay. So it would be
It's a
a
small
little bit more.
explanation in the feedback now. It's a written explanation there if you want to read that, because this question was asked initially. I don't know if maybe it was by you once we started this public testing. So I wrote down a question for it to add to the FAQ. So I pasted that one into the FUSD feedback, and it's kind of similar to the same example that Mr. Google told now, just a little bit different with the amounts. So you can look there in more detail if you want to.
Okay, thanks for explanation. Now another question. So 2022 was an amazing year in terms of development for Flamingo. I want to ask what we need to expect from Flamingo team for 2023 in terms of growth and trading volume increasing.
That's at least our plans. It's always been to first build, and when we're satisfied with the project or product, it's then to grow it. And we explained that multiple times. It doesn't make sense to bring in 10,000 users that will ask the same questions, have the same issues, and then basically spend all your time giving them support. But now that we're basically soon completing the circle of making Flamingo a decentralized exchange that can compete with other centralized exchanges, we need to get FUSD out there, get that to work. Then we will have to do some updates on the order book to make that work. So it's a version 1.1 there. It's basically done as well, but we need some implementation time. Then we have some refactoring since when we launched the page, we didn't know what to build. Basically, we just built something a year ago. It's like 13 months ago or something. So we will have some refactoring. The wallet will get a new design. We will not have this wrap and unwrap. It will be more like deposit and withdraw. So you can basically withdraw to different chains and stuff like that. But when that stuff is done, it's no excuse to not focus on trading competitions, focus on marketing, bringing people in, and doing basically shifting our day-to-day operations from being developers into being marketeers and support for new users. So that's the plan for 2023, and we don't see any major developments for Flamingo in 2023 other than the TAO, the token auction offering. It's not a big one, but that will come. The order book in the new version, as I said. And then also it's been working on the single staking, or basically it's just options hedge for staking one asset, not getting impermanent loss. So no huge development things, more focus on marketing. I think like after the summer, also
I think that's
it needs
huge,
to
actually.
yeah
I think
yeah, but
that is to be able to come this far and to be this stable that we are right now in this position where we're actually where we wanted to be 1 year before if I think back, because we wanted to have all these things implemented, these like new cool features, and we've launched a lot of them. And I feel like we're getting to a stable point where the platform is doing what we want it to do. And I think that's a major step if we are able to actually lean back and in regards to development and then focus on marketing. It's because we will use all our skills on that as well. It won't be like traditional, just buy an ad and sit and watch.
But
So,
I think
yeah.
like it doesn't make sense to do it if the market continues to be like it is now, because then you pay a really high price to onboard people. But as soon as like the market starts to shift, we need to be ready to like surf that wave basically. So
Yeah, but it also like in terms of development, then you could prepare to make things more easier, even more tool tips, more videos for explaining every button, every press, how to do stuff, stuff like that. It's good to maybe prepare for the users then, and when you shift the your focus and your mind to be in the selling focus rather than doing innovative tech, then our decisions for what to do in development time will be different as well. So that's just getting these major hurdles out of the way with FUSD, which is a real big thing, and the Order Book Plus being fully implemented into the swaps and stuff like that to benefit the platform and the users in a bigger way. I think all these things coming together makes us able to shift our mindset, because now it's not possible because we're really in build mode. And I think just having these things launched, then we will be able physically to shift our minds.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for your explanation. Bye from me.
Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you so
for your
much.
question. I'm really need to be on time today. Have a family dinner. So if there's any more questions, Fieto, I don't know how to pronounce your nickname, but you said you had some questions for them there. So if you want to raise your hand and come up to stage, you're welcome to do that now. Or if anyone else has some questions, yeah, there. Let's go. Welcome back.
Am I muted? Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, yeah.
These are okay. Thank you very much for remember about me. That's very kind of you. And actually, I have gazillion of questions about particular functionalities and things. But you know what? When you told me about this family dinner, I actually feel hungry as well. So I'll let you go right now. And with the specific questions, maybe I'll get back off for the direct message if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. And also feel free. I still have 10 more minutes, so it's no problem.
One question, what would it be?
Okay, sure. Before I let you go, just if you can just sum it up the current the stage. You know, we all are familiar with this milestones and the goals set up for 2022 and 2023. Please tell me that you're happy about it, what we achieved so far, and overall progress of the platform. If you are, then I would be happy as well.
We are. It's really hard to say happy, but we are super happy. We done stuff that we like a year ago wouldn't even think is possible to do. It's been an amazing journey when it comes to looking at the innovation that we created. We are not like people that do copy paste. Copy paste is simple. Copy paste is easy to do. The stuff that we have done is like innovation that's based on our research, and then we want to improve upon things that others have tried and look at what doesn't work and look at what's working. And I'm really happy. I'm really tired from it, of course, but also really happy. And I'm really looking forward to doing the marketing stuff and being more involved, talking in the community, and like having time to do that kind of things, because right now it's like 16 hours of day of developing and brainstorming and stuff like that, and that's hard for me, for me and Adrian's personal life, as well as of course work life, and for the community as well. So I'm really happy that everyone who's sticking around is sticking around, and it's important to know that this isn't like Flamingo isn't a hype project. It's not like we want to hype the price, we want to hype stuff, we want to do stuff quick. We want slow and steady growth. We want to build disruptive technology that is there like 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years from now. So it's really important to like have the right time preference. And I see a lot of people coming in complaining about their investment and crypto in general, and it's like that's then you have a different time preference than what we have. We have no control over the price. Of course, we would love FLM to be $10. It's no reason why we want it to be down. It's not like we have any pre-minted assets that we're dumping. So basically, it's like yeah, those people are it's a burden as well. I don't like to see people lose money and people are unhappy and unsatisfied, but we're really happy tech wise where we're at, and then we need to then grow the other part where we grow the community. And I think like everyone has to help out. It's in the benefit of everyone to help out, to help grow Flamingo and help grow Neo. It's not like if we just scream at each other, it doesn't help anything.
I
Oh,
think
well
what
said.
Mr. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think what Mr. Google also told now, it's reflected in the roadmap, because we're it's hard to say what we're gonna build in a year, but we're gonna build anyway. We're gonna just like take it slow, and we're gonna be here, and we're trying to make disruptive tech, and we're trying to make all these right choices for the right reasons, and not for a pump of a price. And maybe people have noticed that the roadmap has changed a bit, and maybe it kind of looks different for 2023, and that's because we've learned. So we know we can't really know what we're going to build in Q4, but on a fundamental level, there's things we want to achieve every quarter. We want to improve user experience. We want to be able to be here and speak with you in this community Lagoons, and we know that we want to adjust the FLM distributions, and we have these small tech targets of things we want to build, and those are put on the map. But I guess there's a lot of blank spots on the map of things that's yet to come.
Yeah, a year
So-
ago, nobody here would think about FUSD,
No.
and still here we are. So that I think that's a good, like, even the fund wasn't thought about like a year ago. So
Don't look
Wow.
at the roadmap as something as exclusively what we're gonna do, because then you're reading the map wrong. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I was thinking it was going to be a warm-up question. Here we are. Actually, addressed a lot of my concerns. But look, if you don't mind, just a two very short one, pretty strict one. The first one would be, if some of my developer friends actually ask, okay, so how much of a transactions per second actually you expect we can proceed in Flamingo, of course in optimum environment, what would you say, more or less?
that's just based on Neo. So I think Neo has around 10,000 transactions per second or something right now. And theoretically, you can go up to 100,000 or 1 million with some sharding. So that's not like, I don't see us reaching the limits anytime soon.
Neither do I, but I was, but probably I would give similar answer, but this is just me thinking, me talking,
Yeah.
and I consulted with you. That was one. And the second one, plenty of authorities recently has raised the concern that next big threat on the market overall is a tether. And since we are talking about the stable coins and so on, I've been thinking, what's your opinion about it? Do you expect some kind of a storm coming from a tether side in the near future, or not really?
It's
Will
like,
be all speculation.
yeah, it's impossible to say. It's like nobody expected FTX to be insolvent before they were insolvent. So I think like people need to be careful. That's why I like FUSD really much, because it will actually bring a real stable, transparent token to people, and decentralized as well. So I really like that FUSD is boring, slow, and doesn't give you tons of leverage and stuff like that, because it's just like this safe, transparent option to everything else that's either centralized or backed by centralized assets.
And it's like everyone should just stay safe as well. Like everything can happen. Nothing is 100% safe ever. So I feel like it's more transparent with FUSD, and with Tether, make your own decision. I guess it's good for us to have another stablecoin on the platform, at least with FUSD, and we want to bring others as well, so that we have more diverse portfolio of stable assets on Flamingo as well.
But
So
I
that's
think it's
yet to come.
For people that believe in decentralization to know that, like, when people say because of FTX crypto is dead, I think the opposite. FTX is a centralized financial institution, and
Yep.
Bitcoin was created so we don't need centralized financial institutions, because they are driven by few people that can get greedy. So when people then say to me like, yeah, but crypto's gone down, look at this FTX, look at these billions of dollars. And basically FTX is just proving the point that we need crypto, but not centralized crypto, because FTX was a financial institution. Binance is a financial institution. Flamingo is not a financial institution. It's not one person sitting on all your assets. It's not like someone can do leverage on your tokens. It's in the smart contracts. It's there. So it's like when you mint FUSD, it's not like you go to Flamingo and ask for permission. It's basically you making your own stablecoin.
Well said. Well said. Absolutely. There's no shadow of doubt. Actually.
Yeah, but same with Tether and Circle. Like they're centralized financial institutions, so that's important to like take into account when you do risk assessment.
Yeah.
So I need to run.
Thank you for this. Yeah. Enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, thank you. It was really nice of all of you to come here. We're really looking forward to get FUSD out there. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really good for us all. Merry Christmas to all of you that celebrate Christmas, and of course a Happy New Year to everyone here. Of course we will be here on the chats, but I think this is the last time we speak in voice before the New Year. So Happy New Year to everyone. And we see you all here at the same time in 1 month. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll make a new event. We'll
Yeah.
make a new event immediately, and people can say that they're interested, so they get the notification once they get close again.
Nice.
Looking forward then.
Have
Merry
a
Christmas.
nice day, evening, or morning, or night. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye bye.